The crystal flutes chime as Stephen raises his glass, and I force myself to smile. My husband's eyes sparkle with what anyone else would mistake for joy, but I know better now. Those aren't tears of happiness catching the chandelier light. They're the glints of a perfect performance. To my beautiful wife Ava, he announces to our gathered friends and family. 10 years of marriage to you have been. He pauses for dramatic effect, and I watch our guests lean in. Well, they've been everything I could have imagined. I wonder if Claire, standing 3 people to my left, appreciates the artistry of his lies as much as I do. She's wearing a champagne-colored dress that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent, her perfectly manicured hand wrapped around her own glass. When she arrived earlier, she kissed my cheek and whispered those words that keep echoing in my head. You must have known. The thing is, I didn't know. Not really. Maybe I should have noticed how Stephen's late meetings always fell on Thursdays, or questioned why he suddenly needed a personal trainer at that exclusive gym. But when you've spent a decade building a life with someone, you don't want to see the cracks in the foundation. Speech, someone calls out, and I realize everyone's looking at me expectantly. My throat constricts, but I've been practicing my own performance for weeks now. Thank you all for coming, I begin, my voice steady despite the storm in my chest. When Stephen and I first met, I tell the story they're all expecting. Our coffee shop meet cute, the whirlwind romance, the proposal in Paris. It's all true technically, but it feels like reading from someone else's diary now. As I speak, I catch Anna's eye across the room. My best friend's face is carefully neutral, but I see her hand tighten around her clutch. She's the only one who knows the full truth. The truth about the lipstick-stained receipts I found last month, about the text messages I wasn't supposed to see, about how Stephen's company is bleeding money into offshore accounts while he plays the devoted husband at home. To another 10 years, I conclude, raising my glass. The crowd echoes the sentiment, and I take a sip of champagne that tastes like ash in my mouth. Claire glides over as the guests disperse into smaller groups. That was beautiful, she says, and I study her face for any sign of irony or guilt. There's none. She's either an excellent actress or so convinced of her own righteousness that she sees nothing wrong with standing here, in my house, at my anniversary party, wearing the earrings my husband bought her last month. Thank you, I reply, matching her tone perfectly. I'm so glad you could make it. I wouldn't have missed it, she says, touching my arm lightly. Stephen speaks so highly of everyone at the office. We're like family there. Family. The word hits me like a slap. I think of the photograph I found hidden in Stephen's desk drawer. Claire and him in some tropical paradise, her head thrown back in laughter while he kisses her neck. The timestamp showed it was taken during the week he told me he was at a business conference in Seattle. Speaking of family, I say, I should check on the caterers. Excuse me. I make my way through the crowd, accepting congratulations and deflecting questions about children with practiced ease. In the kitchen, I find Anna waiting for me, 2 fresh glasses of champagne in hand. You okay? She asks quietly, passing me one. I take a long sip before answering. Did you see the necklace she's wearing? The diamond pendant? Hard to miss. It's from Cartier's new collection. I saw Stephen looking at it online last month. I laugh, but there's no humor in it. I thought he was shopping for my anniversary gift. Anna's face darkens. That son of a... Don't, I cut her off. Not yet, not here. She studies me for a moment. What are you going to do? Through the kitchen door, I can see Stephen holding court in the living room, one hand gesturing animatedly as he tells some story. Claire stands at the edge of his audience, laughing at all the right moments. They think they're so clever, so careful. They have no idea what's coming. I pull the USB drive from my clutch and hold it up. Remember that audit you helped me run on his company's finances? Anna's eyes widen. You found something? Oh, I found everything. I smile, and for the first time tonight, it's genuine. And in about 30 seconds, so will everyone else. The automated email I scheduled is about to hit the inboxes of every guest here, along with the SEC and 3 major news outlets. In the living room, phones will start buzzing, faces will change, questions will be asked, and I'll be standing right here, watching it all burn. The first phone chimes like a starting gun. Within seconds, the room fills with notification sounds and sharp intakes of breath. I take another sip of champagne, letting the bubbles burn my throat as I watch Stephen's face change. He's still mid-story when he notices his audience's attention shifting to their phones. His smile falters, just slightly. My God, someone whispers. Then louder, Stephen, is this true? Claire reaches for her own phone, her perfectly manicured fingers trembling. I savor the way the color drains from her face as she reads. The diamond pendant at her throat catches the light as she swallows hard. What's going on? Stephen's voice carries across the room, still trying to maintain control. He pulls out his phone, and I count the seconds until, there. His eyes snap up, searching the crowd until they find me. The look we share isn't between husband and wife anymore. It's between hunter and prey, though I don't think he's figured out which one he is yet. Ava. He strides toward the kitchen, his voice dropping to that dangerous whisper he uses when he's truly angry. What have you done? Anna steps between us, but I touch her arm gently. It's okay, I tell her. I've got this. What I've done. I keep my voice steady, loud enough for nearby guests to hear. I simply shared some interesting financial documents I found. You know, the ones showing how you've been embezzling from your own company for the past 3 years. The room goes silent except for the soft gasps and murmurs of our guests. Someone's recording this on their phone. Good. You had no right, Stephen hisses. Those documents were private, like the private investigator's photos. I cut him off. The ones of you and Claire in Bali? Or maybe we should discuss the private offshore accounts. Claire makes a small choking sound and starts pushing through the crowd toward the door. Several people step away from her like she's contagious. You're making a mistake, Stephen says, but there's a tremor in his voice now. This isn't what you think. Actually, a new voice interrupts. I believe Mrs. Lynch knows exactly what this is. I turn to see Lucas, Stephen's former business partner, standing in the doorway. He wasn't on the guest list. The flash drive he holds up matches the one in my clutch. Hello, Stephen, he says coolly. Surprised to see me? Your wife reached out last week. We had quite an interesting conversation about certain irregularities in the company books. Stephen's face goes from red to white so fast, I worry he might faint. Lucas, we can discuss this. We'll definitely be discussing it. Lucas agrees, along with the SEC investigators who should be arriving any minute. As if on cue, blue and red lights flash through the windows. The party dissolves into chaos. Guests hurrying for the exits, phones recording everything, Claire sobbing by the coat check. Through it all, I stand perfectly still, watching my husband's world collapse. Why? Stephen asks me, his voice barely audible above the commotion. 10 years, Ava. Was it all just... Don't. The word comes out sharp enough to make him flinch. Don't you dare act betrayed. Not after everything you've done. He reaches for me, but I step back. His hand hangs in the empty air between us. And for a moment, I see a flash of the man I married. Lost, desperate, human. Then his mask slips back into place. You'll regret this, he says quietly. When the dust settles, you'll realize what you've thrown away. I laugh, and the sound surprises us both. The only thing I regret is not doing it sooner. Two SEC agents appear in the doorway, flanking a grim-faced detective. As they approach, Stephen straightens his tie, always concerned with appearances, even now. Mrs. Lynch, the detective addresses me. We'd like to ask you some questions about the information you sent us. I nod, but before I can respond, my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. You've opened Pandora's box. Hope you're ready for what comes next. Meet tomorrow, 9 a.m., Riverside Cafe. Come alone. I glance around the room, but everyone's focused on Stephen being led away. Everyone except Georgia from his office, who catches my eye for just a moment before slipping out the door. The text glows on my screen like a warning. There's more to this than even I knew, and suddenly, I'm not sure if I've won or simply started something I can't stop. But as I watch Stephen being escorted out of our home, out of my life, I know one thing for certain. There's no going back now. The Riverside Cafe looks different in the morning light, less like the cozy spot where Stephen and I used to have Sunday brunch, more like a stage set for whatever's about to unfold. I arrived 20 minutes early, choosing a corner table with a clear view of both exits. My hands shake slightly as I order coffee. Just coffee? The waitress asks. The breakfast special's really good. I shake my head. My stomach's been in knots since last night when I found the safe in Stephen's office empty. Not just the cash and documents I expected him to take. Everything was gone, including items he shouldn't have known about. Someone had warned him. Georgia arrives at exactly 9 a.m., wearing the same determined expression she had at the party. She slides into the seat across from me without ordering. You think you've won? She says, no preamble. You haven't. I wasn't trying to win, I reply, wrapping my hands around my coffee mug for warmth. I was trying to survive. She laughs, but there's no humor in it. Survive? You have no idea what survival looks like in Stephen's world. Ask Lucas. What about Lucas? 3 years ago, Lucas wasn't just Stephen's business partner. He was about to expose everything. The embezzlement, the fake accounts, all of it. Then his daughter got into that exclusive private school despite the waiting list. His wife landed her dream job at a firm that, coincidentally, handles Stephen's overseas investments. My coffee turns bitter in my mouth. Are you saying Stephen bought them off? I'm saying Stephen always has a contingency plan. Georgia leans forward. And now he has one for you. Before I can respond, my phone buzzes. It's Anna. 911. Come to my office now. Whatever game you're playing, I tell Georgia, standing up. I'm not interested. This isn't a game, Ava. The SEC investigation, it's already being redirected. By this afternoon, they'll be looking into your involvement instead of his. That offshore account you found? It's in your name. The room tilts slightly. That's impossible. I never. Check your email. The documentation showing you as the primary account holder was just submitted to the investigators, along with evidence suggesting you've been blackmailing Stephen for years. My phone buzzes again. Anna, seriously, drop everything now. Georgia stands, smoothing her skirt. You have until 5 p.m. to withdraw your allegations and sign a statement taking responsibility. Otherwise, she shrugs. Well, prison orange isn't really your color. I make it to Anna's law office in record time, my heart pounding so hard I can barely breathe. She's pacing behind her desk when I arrive, her usually immaculate hair disheveled. They're moving fast, she says without greeting me. Stephen's lawyers filed for an emergency hearing. They're claiming you orchestrated everything, the embezzlement, the fake accounts, all of it. They have documentation, Ava. Really good documentation. It's all lies, I say, but my voice sounds weak even to me. Of course it is, but lies with excellent paperwork beat truth without evidence every time. She stops pacing, fixing me with an intense stare. Tell me you kept copies of everything. My silence is answer enough. Jesus, Ava. She slumps into her chair. What about the original documents? The ones from the safe? Gone. He must have. I stop, remembering something. Oscar. What? Oscar Wong. He was at the party last night. I saw him talking to Stephen in the study right before everything went down. My hands clench into fists. They've been friends for 20 years. If anyone knows where Stephen would hide things. Anna's already reaching for her phone. I'll have my investigator track him down. But Ava, she hesitates. If we're wrong about this, if Oscar doesn't have anything, I know. I close my eyes, seeing the future Stephen has planned for me. Prison, disgrace, destruction. Everything I tried to do to him, twisted back onto me. My phone buzzes one more time. Unknown number. Smart girl figuring out Oscar's involvement. Want to know what else your husband's hiding? Storage Unit 247, Westlake Facility. Code 3479. But hurry, you're not the only one looking. I show Anna the text. It's from Georgia, isn't it? She asks. Probably. The question is, can we trust her? The question is, can we afford not to? I stare at the message, thinking about Georgia's warning, about Lucas's convenient silence, about all the threads of Stephen's web that I'm only now beginning to see. No, I say finally, we can't. The Westlake storage facility smells like dust and forgotten things. Anna keeps watch while I punch in the code, each number feeling like another step I can't take back. The metal door groans open, and my flashlight beam cuts through the darkness. 10 minutes, Anna whispers. The security guard circles back around at 2:45. The unit is smaller than I expected, and neater. Labeled boxes line metal shelves, each one cataloged with Stephen's obsessive precision. My hands tremble as I scan the labels. Tax records 2018 to 2020, investment portfolios, personal correspondence. Here, I pull down a box marked insurance documents. Inside, beneath a layer of actual insurance papers, I find what I'm looking for. A leather portfolio filled with USB drives, each labeled with dates and cryptic initials. Ava, Anna calls softly, someone's coming. Footsteps echo down the concrete corridor, not the heavy tread of a security guard. These are lighter, purposeful. I shove the portfolio into my bag just as a shadow appears in the doorway. I had a feeling you'd be here. Oscar steps into the light, his usual friendly smile replaced by something harder. Stephen said you might try this. Oscar. My voice catches. How many dinners had we shared? How many times had he and his wife joined us for holidays? You knew, all this time, you knew what he was doing. I knew he was protecting his interests. Oscar moves further into the unit, blocking the exit. The same way I'm protecting mine now. Anna steps between us. Back off, Oscar. Whatever Stephen's paying you, it's not about money. He laughs shortly. Well, not entirely. It's about loyalty. Something your wife seems to have forgotten, Stephen said. Loyalty? The word tastes like poison. Is that what you call helping him destroy people's lives? I call it survival. Oscar holds out his hand. Give me the portfolio, Ava. We can pretend this never happened. Like we're pretending about Lucas? The words shoot out before I can stop them. Or about Maria Torres. Oscar's face changes, just slightly. What do you know about Maria? I know she worked in accounting 3 years ago. I know she found something in the books that scared her. And I know she disappeared 2 days before she was supposed to testify to the board. I take a step forward. What happened to her, Oscar? Don't. His voice shakes. You don't want to pull that thread, Ava. Trust me. The guard, Anna hisses urgently. Heavy footsteps approach now. Oscar glances over his shoulder, then back at me. Something shifts in his expression. Storage Unit 419, he says quickly. The key is in Stephen's desk at home, bottom left drawer, under the false bottom. But Ava, he grabs my arm. If you open that door, there's no going back. Some things can't be undone. The guard's flashlight beam sweeps past the unit. Oscar releases me and calls out, "All clear in here. Just checking my unit." We slip out while Oscar distracts the guard, my heart hammering against my ribs. In Anna's car, I finally let out the breath I've been holding. "What was that about?" Anna asks as we pull away. "What's in Unit 419? "I don't know." I open the portfolio, scanning through the drives. "But look at this. One of these is labeled empty evidence." My hands shake. Maria Torres. Oscar wasn't just warning me, he was telling me where to look. Or leading you into a trap. Anna's knuckles whiten on the steering wheel. Stephen could be playing you, using Oscar to... My phone buzzes. Georgia again. "Hope you found what you needed. But the real evidence isn't in those drives. Ask Andrea about Project Lighthouse. She's been waiting for someone to ask the right questions." "Andrea?" Anna frowns. "The corporate lawyer? Who apparently knows something we don't." I stare at the message, thinking about Maria Torres, about Oscar's warning, about all the layers of deception I'm still peeling back. Call her, tell her we need to meet. "Ava." Anna hesitates. "Are you sure about this? The SEC hearing is in 2 days. If we're wrong about any of this..." I think about the look in Oscar's eyes when I mentioned Maria, about Georgia's warnings, about the way Stephen always seemed to stay one step ahead of consequences. "I'm sure about one thing," I say, clutching the portfolio. "Whatever Stephen's hiding, it's bigger than embezzlement. And I swallow hard, I think someone might have died to keep it hidden." Anna's apartment is 15 minutes away. We make it in 10, both of us jumping at shadows, both knowing that somewhere in the city, Stephen is moving pieces on a board I'm only beginning to understand. But for the first time since this started, I feel something beyond anger or fear. I feel purpose. Whatever truth lies in Unit 419, whatever Project Lighthouse might reveal, I'm going to find it, even if it destroys us all. Andrea's office feels too bright, too normal for the conversation we're about to have. She sits behind her massive desk, perfectly composed in her charcoal suit, while I try to stop my leg from bouncing beneath my chair. "Project Lighthouse," she says, testing the words like they might bite. "Where did you hear that name? Does it matter?" I lean forward. "What matters is that you know something about it, something important enough that Georgia thought I should ask." Andrea's fingers drum once on her desk, the only crack in her professional facade. "Georgia Wagner? The same Georgia who's been helping Stephen hide his transactions for the past 2 years? What?" The room suddenly feels colder. "No, that's not... She's been helping me." "Has she?" Andrea opens her laptop, turns it toward me. "These are transfer records from last month. Notice who authorized them?" My eyes scan the document, catching on Georgia's signature, the dates matching exactly when she first approached me about Stephen's affairs. Everything I thought I knew shifts sideways. "She played me," I whisper. "She played all of us. That's what Project Lighthouse was designed for, to create so many layers of deception that no one could follow the money." Andrea closes the laptop. "I helped design it. That's my confession, Ava. That's what's been eating at me for 3 years. Since Maria Torres disappeared." Andrea goes very still. "Who told you about Maria?" "Oscar, right before he told me about Storage Unit 419. "Jesus." Andrea stands abruptly, moves to her window. "You need to leave, now. If Oscar mentioned that unit..." A knock at the door makes us both jump. Andrea's secretary pokes her head in. Ms. Sanderson, there are some SEC agents here to see you. They say it's urgent. Andrea's face goes blank. Professional. Perfect. Tell them I'll be right out. She turns to me. Use my private exit. Down that hallway. Door code 5891. Don't stop for anything. Andrea, what? Maria Torres didn't disappear, Ava. She was murdered, and if you don't move right now, you might be next. My body moves on autopilot, through the door, down the hallway. Behind me, I hear Andrea greeting the agents with practiced ease. My phone buzzes as I hit the street. Unknown number, back entrance of Lucas's office, 20 minutes, bring the drives. I call Anna immediately. I need you to run a trace on a number. Already did, she says. You're not going to believe where those texts are coming from. Try me. A burner phone registered to Oscar's wife. I stop walking. What? It gets better. I did some digging into Maria Torres. The week before she died, yes, Ava died, not disappeared, she made 3 calls to that same number. My mind races. Oscar's warning, George's manipulation, Andrea's fear. Where are you? Anna asks. Heading to Lucas's office. Don't. It's a setup. Stephen's lawyers just filed an emergency motion. They're claiming you coerced Oscar into giving you access to private company documents. There's security footage of you at the storage facility. Of course there is. Every move I've made, they've been waiting for. My phone buzzes again. This time it's Claire. Storage Unit 419. I have the key. No games, no tricks. Just the truth about what happened to Maria. Meet me there in an hour. Ava. Anna's voice sounds far away. Whatever you're thinking, don't. I have to go. Wait, there's something else. I found Maria Torres's autopsy report. The official cause of death was suicide, but the toxicology showed. I end the call, staring at Claire's message. Everything circles back to Unit 419, to Maria Torres, to whatever truth is big enough to kill for. My phone rings again. Stephen's number. After 4 rings, I answer. Come home, he says softly. We can fix this, all of it. No one else has to get hurt. Like Maria didn't have to get hurt? A long pause. You don't understand what you're dealing with. Then help me understand. Tell me what happened to her. I can't. His voice catches. But I can protect you. One last time. Come home, Ava. Please. For a moment, I remember how it felt to trust him, to believe in us. Then I think of Maria Torres, of all the lies wrapped in lies, of how many people it took to build this house of cards. I am going to find out the truth, I tell him, and when I do, I'm going to burn your whole world down. I hang up and text Claire, I'll be there, 1 hour. Some truths are worth dying for. I just hope I'm ready to find out if this is one of them. Storage Unit 419 looms before me like a metal coffin. Claire stands beside it, key in hand, looking nothing like the polished mistress from the anniversary party. Her mascara is smudged, her designer clothes rumpled. Before I open this, she says, you need to understand something. I didn't know about any of it, not until Maria. You expect me to believe that? The flash drive from Oscar's portfolio feels heavy in my pocket. After everything you've done, I expect you to listen. Her hand shakes as she fits the key into the lock. Because what's in here, it's not just about Stephen anymore, it's about all of us. The door rolls up with a metallic shriek. Unlike the organized precision of Unit 247, this one is chaos. Scattered papers, old computers, boxes overflowing with files, and on the back wall, a cork board covered in photographs. My breath catches. The photos show various people. Some I recognize, some I don't. But they all have one thing in common. They're surveillance shots, including several of me. Stephen didn't just embezzle money. Claire says quietly. He collected people, their secrets, their weaknesses, everything he needed to control them. I step closer to the board. There's Lucas with his daughter outside that private school. Oscar leaving a hotel with a woman who isn't his wife. Andrea meeting with someone in a parked car. Maria found out, Claire continues. She was doing an internal audit when she discovered the pattern. Not just the missing money, but where it was going, what it was buying. Blackmail, I whisper. Insurance, Stephen called it. He had something on everyone, including me. She laughs bitterly. Did you think I wanted to be his mistress? That I chose to help destroy your marriage? Before I can respond, my phone buzzes. Anna, get out now. Oscar's wife just found dead in their home. Same method as Maria. The air leaves my lungs. We need to go. No. Claire grabs my arm. Not until you see everything. The laptop in that box. It has Maria's original files. The ones that prove. A car door slams outside. That prove what? Stephen's voice makes us both freeze. He stands in the doorway, silhouetted against the afternoon sun. That prove I'm a monster? That I killed Maria? He steps inside, and I see the gun in his hand. The truth is so much messier than that, isn't it, Claire? Claire's grip on my arm tightens. Stephen, don't show her, he says. Show her the photo you've been hiding, the one from the night Maria died. Claire's face crumples. Slowly, she reaches into her jacket and pulls out a folded photograph. My hands tremble as I take it. The image shows a hotel room, Maria Torres slumped over a desk. Behind her stands Claire, holding an empty syringe. No, I breathe. Yes, Stephen says. Your noble informant here? She's the one who killed Maria, just like she killed Oscar's wife an hour ago. He made me, Claire whispers. He had photos of my sister's children. He said if I didn't, you had a choice. Stephen cuts in. Everyone has a choice. That's what makes my insurance policy so effective. People choose to protect what they love, no matter the cost. My phone buzzes again. Anna. Police en route. Get out now. Speaking of choices, Stephen raises the gun. It's time for you to make one, Ava. The evidence in that laptop could destroy dozens of lives. People with families, children. Are you really willing to sacrifice them just to punish me? For a moment, I see it all clearly. The web of lies and fear he's woven. The way he's turned us all into accomplices. Claire's tears are real. Her guilt is real. But so is the blood on her hands. You're right, I say slowly. Everyone has a choice. I reach for the laptop, watch Stephen's smile start to form. Then I grab Claire's arm instead, yanking her toward the door. The gun fires. Pain blazes across my shoulder, but we're running. Claire's hand clutched in mine, her heels clattering on concrete. Behind us, sirens wail. The laptop, Stephen shouts. You can't leave it. But I already have what I need. The flash drive in my pocket contains enough to start unraveling his empire. And now I have Claire, living proof of how far his corruption reaches. We burst into sunlight as police cars screech into the parking lot. Claire stumbles to a stop, but I pull her forward. Trust me, I tell her. One last choice. Make it count. For a heartbeat, she hesitates. Then we're running again, toward Anna's waiting car, toward whatever consequences come next. Behind us, I hear Stephen's voice rise in rage. He's realizing what I already know. His perfect system of control only works if everyone stays afraid. And I'm not afraid anymore. The emergency room lights flicker as a nurse bandages my shoulder. Claire sits across from me, giving her statement to a detective while Anna paces nearby, phone pressed to her ear. The bullet only grazed me, but every movement sends fire through my arm. The DA's office is expediting the warrants, Anna says, ending her call. They're moving on Stephen's offices now. My phone lights up with a text. Stephen, last chance. The board meets in 1 hour. Stop this now, or everyone burns. The detective looks up from Claire's statement. Mrs. Lynch, we need your testimony too, starting with how you obtained access to the storage unit. Before I can answer, Andrea bursts in, still in her perfect suit despite the late hour. Don't say anything. She turns to the detective. My client needs a moment with her counsel. Once we're alone, Andrea's composure cracks. They found documents in my office, ones I didn't even know existed. Stephen's lawyers are already spinning it, making me look like the mastermind behind everything. That's why he let us find Unit 419, I realize. He wanted us to run straight to the police. Now he has witnesses who'll swear we stole corporate documents, committed industrial espionage, and murdered 2 people. Claire adds quietly. My shoulder throbs as everything clicks into place. The board meeting, that's his endgame. He's going to present evidence that we conspired together. Me, Claire, Andrea, all of us. We can't let him, Claire says, but her voice shakes. The things he has on me, my sister's children. I look at these women, Andrea with her crumbling facade, Claire with her guilty conscience, Anna with her fierce loyalty, and suddenly I know what we have to do. We stop hiding, I say. All of us, every secret, every shame, every terrible choice. We lay it all out. That's suicide. Andrea protests. No, I stand, ignoring the pain. It's the only way to break his power. He controls us through fear of exposure, so we expose ourselves first. My phone buzzes again. Stephen, the board's gathering early. Tick-tock. I text back. See you there. The corporate headquarters feels different now, its sleek surfaces hiding rot beneath. Security tries to stop us, but Andrea's credentials get us through. In the elevator, Claire grips my hand. I'm scared, she whispers. Good, I tell her. Use it. The boardroom falls silent as we enter. Stephen stands at the head of the table, impeccable as always. His smile doesn't waver, but his eyes betray his surprise at seeing us together. Ava, he says smoothly, this is a private meeting. About Project Lighthouse, I interrupt, about Maria Torres, or about how you've built your empire on blackmail and murder. Careful, he warns. Remember what's at stake. Oh, I remember. I turn to the board members. Your chairman has files on all of you, evidence of bribes, affairs, illegal deals. He calls it insurance. I call it what it is, abuse of power. Stephen's smile tightens. You have no proof? I have this. I hold up Oscar's flash drive. And I have us. Claire? I nod to her. She steps forward, trembling but steady. I killed Maria Torres, under orders from Stephen Lynch. I have proof of his instructions, his threats against my family. One by one, we confess. Andrea details the financial schemes. I admit my own role in covering Stephen's tracks for years. With each revelation, his power visibly diminishes. You're destroying yourselves, he snaps. No, I say quietly. We're choosing truth over fear, something you never understood. The boardroom door opens. Police officers enter, led by the detective from the hospital. Stephen's face goes blank as they approach. Mr. Lynch, the detective begins. You're under arrest. Wait, I hold up my hand. There's one more thing. I meet Stephen's eyes. Tell them about the children. He flinches, the first real emotion I've seen from him. I don't, the ones you threatened, Claire's nieces, Lucas's daughter, all the innocent lives you used as leverage. Tell them, or I will. For a moment, I see the monster beneath his mask. Then, something breaks in his expression. As he begins to speak, his voice carries the weight of a crumbling empire. I watch my husband confess his sins, and I feel nothing but a profound exhaustion. The detective reads him his rights. The board members sit in stunned silence. Claire weeps quietly beside me. Was it worth it? Stephen asks as they lead him away. Burning everything down just to stop me? I think of Maria Torres, of Oscar's wife, of all the lives twisted by fear and secrets. Some things, I tell him, deserve to burn. The house feels different as I pack the last of my things. Emptier, but not in a hollow way. More like a snake's shed skin, something left behind in the process of becoming something new. Anna helps me carry boxes to her car, neither of us mentioning the reporters camped at the end of the driveway. The story broke this morning. Corporate empire falls as CEO's web of blackmail exposed. Stephen's face is everywhere, along with speculation about how many more victims might come forward. You missed a drawer, Anna calls from the study. I find her holding a familiar silver picture frame, Stephen and me in Paris, the night he proposed. I look so young, so certain that love meant never having to question. Keep or donate, she asks. Before I can answer, my phone rings. Andrea's name flashes on the screen. They found another storage unit, she says without preamble, hidden under a different name. Ava. There are records going back 15 years, long before Stephen took over the company. My hand tightens on the picture frame. His mentor, the man who trained him, is still on the board, and he's calling an emergency session right now. I close my eyes, seeing the pattern emerge. Stephen wasn't the spider. He was just another fly in the web. What do you want to do? The picture frame feels heavy in my hand. I look at that younger version of myself, so easily deceived by beautiful lies. But I'm not that woman anymore. Send me everything, I tell Andrea, and call Claire. Tell her to meet us at Oscar's wife's funeral tomorrow. Why? Because that's where the board member will be, making sure everyone stays quiet. I end the call and finally answer Anna's question. The picture frame makes a satisfying crack as it hits the bottom of the trash bag. Keep moving forward, I say. We work in silence for a while, emptying the house of my old life. As we carry the last box out, I spot something white under the front door. An envelope, hand-delivered. Inside is a single photograph. Maria Torres, alive and smiling, holding a baby I've never seen before. On the back, in Stephen's handwriting, some truths are better left buried, for everyone's sake. My hands shake as I dial the prison number. I wondered when you'd find it, Stephen says when they put him on. Did you know Maria had a daughter? She's 7 now, living with adoptive parents who have no idea who her mother was, who killed her. You're trying to stop me from going after the board. I'm trying to protect you, like I always have. His voice softens. The night you found out about Claire, about the affairs, that was supposed to be the end. A simple divorce, a clean break. But you kept pushing, kept digging. You never understood that some mysteries should stay buried. For whose protection? Ask yourself who benefits from exposing everything. Who profits from the chaos? Then ask yourself if you're ready to live with those answers. I think about the photograph, about all the other secrets still hidden in storage units and offshore accounts, about how many more lives could unravel if I keep pulling threads. Goodbye, Stephen, I say, and hang up. Anna watches me from the doorway. What are you thinking? I take one last look around the empty house, remembering the woman who lived here, the one who thought love meant accepting beautiful lies, the one who believed revenge meant burning everything down. I'm thinking it's time to build something new, I say, something true. My phone buzzes with messages from Andrea, from Claire, from others ready to keep fighting. Stephen was right about one thing. Exposing the truth comes with a cost, but staying silent costs more. I lock the front door for the last time, leaving the photograph on the welcome mat. Let the next owners find it, wonder about it. Some mysteries deserve to stay buried, but not the ones that matter. Ready? Anna asks as I slide into the passenger seat. Through the windshield, I watch the reporters notice us, start moving toward the car. They want the same thing Stephen wanted: a simple story, clean and contained, heroes and villains tied up with a neat bow. But real truth is messier than that. It lives in the choices we make, in the secrets we choose to keep or expose, in the hard work of building something honest from the ashes of beautiful lies. Ready, I say, and we drive toward whatever comes next.